Hello and warm wishes to all my fellow Americans, wherever you live, whoever you love, and whatever you believe. My name is John Russo, and this is Stranded in Centerfield. Back in 1957, then Senator John F. Kennedy won the Pulitzer Prize for the book Profiles in Courage. The book, which was ghostwritten by Ted Sorensen, a Kennedy associate who later wrote some of JFK's most famous presidential speeches, told the stories of 8 senators who took courageous and unpopular positions on the issues of their day. If you read this book, you'll note quickly that these acts of patriotism and principle usually carried a high political price. Over the past few weeks, I've thought a lot about profiles in courage as America has seen both the worst and the best in political leadership reveal itself in the wake of Donald Trump's brazen and unprecedented attack on our American democracy. There have been numerous acts of heroism in defense of our American system of government, and I want to focus on 3 people, all Republicans, who stood up when it wasn't easy and actually put America first when it mattered. Mike Shirkey was born and has spent his entire life in Michigan. Early on, he was working for General Motors, and later in his career, he founded Orbitform, a company that produces manufacturing prototypes in southern Michigan. Today, in his mid-60s, he is the majority leader of the Senate in Michigan. For months before the presidential election, Michigan's Democratic governor, Gretchen Whitmer, endured a barrage of Trump tweets likening her to a tyrant and calling upon armed protesters to liberate Michigan. Further polarizing Michigan were Trump media puppets like Laura Ingraham, who sneeringly dubbed the governor Witless Whitmer. After all this derision, vilification, and incitement to violence, some of the armed men who showed up to protest one awful day in the state capital of Lansing went back to their lairs and hatched a plan to kidnap and execute Governor Whitmer and actually overthrow Michigan's government. I think you get the idea. Michigan has become a pretty dangerous place politically. But that didn't stop Mike Shirkey from doing the right thing. On November 17th, just 2 weeks after Election Day, Mike Shirkey responded to the Roger Stone coordinated Stop the Steal protests in Lansing by very clearly and publicly rejecting the baseless and angry demands of protesters that were asking that Michigan's GOP-controlled legislature gift to Donald Trump Michigan's electoral votes, which had been won by Joe Biden. Just days later, Mr. Shirkey was summoned to the White House for a sit-down with Donald Trump. Well, Mr. Shirkey went, he met with Donald Trump, but he did not change his position in favor of democracy. Brad Raffensperger is the Republican Secretary of State of Georgia. Now, his steadfast defense of the legitimacy of Joe Biden's victory in Georgia has prompted both of Georgia's U.S. senators to actually call for his removal from office. He's also been targeted by Comrade Trump. Did I say Comrade Trump? I'm sorry. I meant to say President Trump. He's been targeted by President Trump as an enemy of the people. And as a result, Raffensperger and his family are under 24-hour protection due to death threats from Trump supporters. Truth matters, especially around election administration, Raffensperger has said, and he's conducted a canvass, a hand count, and a machine recount, all of which confirm Biden's victory. For his bravery, I think we can all be confident that Raffensperger has thrown away his political career in favor of honoring his duty to the state of Georgia and his duties to the American democracy. Christopher Krebs has been a lifelong Republican. He was appointed by Donald Trump to be the cybersecurity chief at the Department of Homeland Security. And in that role, it was Mr. Krebs's job to stop foreign hackers, who are really sort of invaders, or anyone else for that matter, from trying to compromise our presidential and other elections. When President Trump attacked the integrity of our elections and claimed that the results were rigged, Chris Krebs released a statement from the Department of Homeland Security saying that there was, and I quote, no evidence that any voting system deleted or lost votes, changed votes, or was in any way compromised. And that was in direct contradiction to the Trump stolen election fantasy narrative. The statement went on to say, and again, I'm quoting, while we know there are many unfounded claims and opportunities for misinformation about the process of our elections, we can assure you we have the utmost confidence in the security and integrity of our elections, and you should too. Within days, Donald Trump had fired Chris Krebs, via Twitter, of course, and hours later, one of Trump's more thuggish supporters, Joseph DeGeneva, called for Krebs's death. Of course, as these idiots always do, DeGenever later said that he was only joking. But, as always seems to happen, some other violent idiots out there don't seem to be in on the joke. And ever since, Krebs and his family have been subject to multiple death threats, same as Raffensperger. For many, the past several weeks have been depressing to watch. But for me, the courage of men like Mike Shirkey, Brad Raffensperger, and Christopher Krebs has been inspiring. We do not need to agree with these people on issues to honor their bravery and loyalty to America. And because of these three men and thousands of other women and men who have stood up for the integrity of our elections, our democracy today may be scarred, but it still stands proud, unbowed, and strong. We are still America. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Please leave your civil comments and suggestions below. This is John Russo saying, I'm not stranded, and neither are you. There are millions of us Americans standing together here in Centerfield. Until next time.